What's going on, everybody? Nazdarachi coming at you this morning / evening with the full review of the Final Fantasy Tactics Sworn by Steel event. Now, I'm going to be reviewing both banners in one video here, so I'm going to accelerate the format quite a bit to help keep it all in the kind of standard time frame. I know that most people don't really want to watch a 40-minute video here, so we're going to steamroll right on through that. The reason I haven't been really on point with covering this event so far is just because my hype for it isn't really here. Now, there are some really good relics and some good characters as well, but you have the Final Fantasy VI event coming up next, and 6 is my favorite Final Fantasy game out of all of them, so I have a lot of hype invested in Shadows USB and on those banners. And then following that, you do have the 30 Festival. So most of your resources and attention should be going towards that 30 Festival. All three of the lead-in banners that are leading up to the festival itself look pretty attractive. And then Phase 2 on the banners looks really good. And a lot of other stuff, just depending on what you may need. Now, I will be covering that more in depth as it gets closer to us, so stay tuned for that. And for now, let's just go ahead and jump into these banners. Final Fantasy VI and the festival are probably where your attention should be mostly based, and with that, on the festival being the priority. So these banners here, again, pretty good. So the first item here is the Musk Pole. It is a 6-star USB for Rafa. The stats here can go kind of either way. It favors a black mage, but you can get good mind usage out of it as well. Rafa is a great character and capable of some pretty good support and DPS, both on the same character. USB, Miracle of Scorpio. Haste to all allies, temporarily raise their magic a moderate amount, reduce their offensive magic cast time for 3 turns, and infuse the user with the power of lightning. So this whole banner is going to feature a lot of lightning effects. Unfortunately, there is no bonus effect on this particular relic, but the USB here is pretty strong. Mainly for a mage-based team, we'll throw that out there. You do have the magic buff, and that will stack with stuff like Vessel of Fate, since it's just a single buff right there. It is pretty stackable if you plan properly. You get the offensive magic cast time reduction for 3 turns. That's great for comboing this stuff with really powerful mage BSBs that don't really have any way to kind of quicken their ability cast, like Edea, for example. Besides the witch abilities, she has no kind of reduction, so this will combo really great with stuff like that. It's a great buff, I said, for a mage-based team, or if you're bringing Rafa to a lightning-based situation. This will go great as a lead-in move to the BSB as well, if you're lucky enough to happen to have both. So pretty good 6-star USB there. Not particularly one I would be super interested in, but it can help strengthen your mage and lightning game, both at the same time, so it is pretty good. Rafa is a good character again. Next up here, 6-star relic for Marak. Again, stats all over the place, but a severe cut to the mind stat. So definitely focusing more on the black magic with this one here. Again, no bonus effects. And the Ultra Soul Break Kamja Collusion. Instant magic lightning non-elemental attack to 8 random targets. Temporarily full break them a large amount. And you get a magic blink to your whole team. So again, this is a really good USB. It has a lot of utility behind it with the full break and then the blink. So if you're able to just cast this out a whole bunch, it'll really help you out in a magic-based situation, especially because you'll get that blink. The 8 instant attacks are good, but the Magicite Dungeon Bismarck that focuses on lightning, he has got a really high resistance stat, and he tends to favor a physical lightning-based party. So keep that in mind. This, again, will be good for any team. This one is not as kind of magic-based as Rafa is. I mean, it still is magic damage, but you get that full break. So you can use this elsewhere and it still function a little bit better. But the magic blink is as well not going to help out unless you're bringing this to a magic dungeon. So in the right situation, this is a great USB here. Something I wouldn't mind having, but I really don't have any intention of raising his level at this current point in time. So we do have Rafa's BSB on this banner as well here. Again, the split stats between magic and mind can be helpful if a white mage has to use it, but it will favor the black mage. No bonus effects, and Heaven's Wrath. 8 magic lightning non-elemental attacks to random targets. Temporarily raise the magic of all allies a moderate amount and their resistance a small amount. and haste burst mode to the user. So Rafa, again, is a great lightning DPSer, but has a lot of good support qualities as well. It's a pretty interesting fusion there that makes this character viable in a lot of situations in different team builds. So again, get the thumbs up for Rafa here. Thundermark, 4 magic lightning non-elemental attacks to 1 target and heal a moderate amount to 1 ally. It's better. Normally you only see a small amount on burst commands like this, so moderate there is pretty noteworthy. It's fairly good, again, for this character being a DPS hybrid utility character. Roaring Sky, 2 magic lightning non-elemental attacks to all targets, and you get a bargain. You lessen the defense for a boost in magic. So this will help out the DPS qualities, and you get the cast time reduction from the USB. So this heal here can come in handy as a supporting heal. Again, it's not going to be a top tier DPSer, but it is a top tier character in the respect that is going to be doing good DPS and as well having a lot of support qualities that are very useful. So again, if you're pulling on this banner, hopefully you get some really good stuff, because it's definitely on this banner, but I will be saving for the future here. Next up here we have the Battle Bamboo. It's BSB for Marak, no bonus effects, and you have the BSB Hell's Wrath, 8 magic lightning and dark attacks to random targets, temporarily lower their magic and resistance a large amount, and grant haste burst mode to the user. So the entry here is going to favor you versus a magic themed enemy and you bringing a mage based party. You'll have the damage reduction on that magic enemy, and your mages will in turn as well be doing more damage here because of the resistance break. And this BSB entry stacks amazingly well with all of the other effects we've seen across this banner. So you'll be buffing your team up. You have the full break on the second USB, and this kind of ties in with that, and you'll just be able to stack quite a bit of mitigation on your opponents if you're running this secondary character Final Fantasy Tactics themed party. You have Lightning Mark, 4 magic lightning and dark attacks to 1 target, reduced delay before hitting. It's a very good DPS command 1. You have the reduced delay. You'll be able to generate more soul break gauge because of that if you're spamming this out. And you have 4 attacks, so good DPS lightning mark right there. Thunderbreak, 2 magic lightning and dark attacks to all targets, reduced delay before hitting. So unfortunately we don't get the bargain here for the stat buff, but you do have a relatively good lightning themed DPS command 1. I will mix up the lightning a little bit here. We do have the Crush Helm. It is for the new character Meliadul. A BSB sword here, Save the Queen. You have Crush Helm, 7 physical earth and holy attacks to random targets, temporarily lower their attack and defense a large amount, and haste burst mode to the user. This is like a mirror of the previous burst soul break we just saw from Marak. Instead of lowering magic and resistance, we're lowering attack and defense. So this will be the effect to bring when you're going into a physical based dungeon with a physical based party. You'll lower the damage you're going to be taking, and you'll be increasing your damage output as well. So very interesting themes they have here. Meliadul will be your physical based character here, and as well we're losing lightning for once, so you have earth and holy. So earth effects will be great, and that makes this character great for stuff like Hydra. So keep that in mind if you're bringing up Bart's USB with his BSB 3 themed team. Meliadul would fit into that quite nicely. You have the Divine Break, 2 physical earth holy attacks to 1 target, temporarily lower its attack a large amount. We have the Divine Crush next, 2 physical earth and holy attacks to 1 target, temporarily lower its attack and magic a small amount. That's very interesting. Because they keyed magic on here as well, it will stack not only with the entry, but with the command 1 as well. That's pretty cool. We don't normally see effects like that. The magic here is an interesting stat. I guess they did just pick that so it's supremely stackable. I mean, it could have been resistance, but honestly, it kind of really doesn't matter. It just matters that it's there, so it adds that stackability here. Pretty good BSB. This character is, again, the character to bring into a physical-based situation, and her sprite looks pretty cool as well. So we can give that one a thumbs up also there. We got Legend Materia for Rafa, minor lightning resistance, so keep that in mind for Hydra, and stats all over the place, so anyone can use it. You have the Keeper of the Faith, moderate chance to reduce the delay of the user's actions for 1 turn when using lightning abilities. It's pretty specific, but pretty much everything Rafa does is lightning based, so it will stack with the BSB commands. And you know, if you bring like other lightning based stuff on there, obviously it'll key with that. It's fairly good. I don't really particularly think that it's a must have, but the delay reduction definitely doesn't hurt. Next up, we have Marok's Guise, Legend Materia for Marok here. Minor lightning resistance again, so keep that in mind for Hydra. And stats very much more tailored to the light armor. So I think this one for many characters will be much better for lightning resistance than the first item. It just really depends on who you're trying to equip it on. That's really the main difference here. Begin the battle temporarily infused with the power of lightning, the Sour of Doubt. It's pretty good for Marok. Again, everything he does for the most part is lightning. So this will fit into the theme pretty well. We've seen stuff like this being with other elements for other characters on Legend Materia, and it just kind of helps accelerate things. It generally means that if you don't have a character with a BSB that has an element on it, this will alleviate you from necessarily having to use their Super Soul Break to get that N element. Now, if a character has an element on the BSB, you probably won't see this Legend Materia for them, but it would be much less useful in that situation. So again, this will just help you save up some extra Soul Break gauge to put towards more powerful effects, and it's okay there. Marok, not someone I'm super interested in using, so. Next up here, Templar Robe, Minor Holy Resistance. That's going to come into play in the next set of Magicite dungeons we're getting in the future. You do have a robe, so similar stats to light armor, but boosted resistance, the cost of lowered defense. Crush armor, super soul break, 6 physical earth and holy attacks to all targets, and temporarily lower their earth resistance. It'll benefit the entire team if you're bringing an earth damage themed team, as opposed to being quite as greedy as the N-Earth. And I don't see Malia Duel as your top earth DPSer. You know, Bart's, this will help Bart's out quite a bit more, especially if you do not have Dorgan's BSB. So this is a good way to pick up that Imperil Earth. Next up here, we have an SSB that I already have. It's the Chaos Blade for TG Sid. You have no bonus effects, and the Super Soul Break Sword of Saints. Instantly deal 6 physical holy and lightning attacks to all targets, and remove the delay from the user's next action for 2 turns. I do not use this Super Soul Break very often. It struggles with the challenge of just having enough gauge to viably want to use this over just recasting his OSB over and over again. If you have his level 99 record materia, he starts the battle with Thunder God, reducing his delay already. So you probably won't ever use this Super Soul Break, and that's doubly true if you do have his level 99 record materia that you're using, and his BSB and OSB. There's not a real reason to use this. The delay reduction is the highlight on it, and you can kind of get that effect from elsewhere. So maybe if you have a Wrath and Truster doing work towards Orlando here, you might be able to pump this out. But generally speaking, just looking at mastery points with that one and not too much usage. We have Super Soul Break for Ovelia next, Princess Prayer. Restore a large amount of HP to all allies and enable each ally to avoid 1 magic attack. I'm pretty sure that this is completely outclassed by her USB on the second banner, so do not make pulls on this banner if you're looking for Ovelia relics. That should be pretty obvious, but just in case you didn't know, yeah, her USB is going to invalidate this one. You're not going to want to use it. You do get some mastery points, so if you happen to get it, I mean, there is that regard right there, but not something that's very good at this point in the game. You know, at one point, spamming out that magic blink with the heal would be great, and if you don't have the USB, it still might be useful, but again, for Ovelia, the USB is the way to go. Headband for Marok here, Super Soul Break Nether Ashura, 6 magic fire and dark attacks to all targets, and temporarily lower their attack and resistance a large amount. This Super Soul Break is actually fairly functional, especially if you don't have his more powerful gear. You'll get that dual stacking break for attack and resistance, so if you're in a physical damage based dungeon and you brought a magic based team, this can actually come in handy and it's fairly stackable. However, if you do have his more potent soul breaks, probably won't see a whole lot of usage on this one because you can just get those breaks and stack them from more powerful abilities. So not ultra great, but probably better than most of the other Super Soul Breaks on this banner, just because you still might see a good time to use it. And that's it for the first banner. we'll go ahead and review the second banner, and then at the very end I'll make my 200 gem draws. So starting off here, we have the Vaughn's Dagger, but for Delita instead, the Orcalium Dirk. You have the Ultra Soul Break King Apparent, 10 physical Holy Fire, Lightning, Ice attacks to one target. Temporarily raise the user's attack a moderate amount, resistance a small amount, critical hit chance a large amount, and remove the delay from the user's actions for 2 turns. Deals more damage if your opponent already has a slight weakness to fire, holy, lightning, or ice. I don't know if I mentioned all 4 of those elements properly when I first started reading it, but this is a quad element damage dealing attack here. There is no EX mode, which is kind of sad, but you do get some selfish buffs here. You have the user's attack, resistance, critical hit chance, large amount. That makes this fairly stackable with any other team buffs you're throwing out. You'll want to use this and lead into Delita's BSB if hopefully you have them both, because that's the ideal combo here. But again, you have the quad element that makes this pretty useful no matter what you bring it to. You get good buffs, albeit they are pretty greedy, and then you do get the delay reduction. So for Delita, pretty good. Again, unfortunately, I do wish there was an EX mode on it. Pretty good stats for a dagger, actually rivals the chicken knife right there. But if the character can use better weapons, you probably won't continue to use that for stats after you've mastered it. Maybe for synergy, though. I mean, that's always a possibility. So next up here, we have the Zeus Mace. This is Ovelia's USB. You have the Divine Dispelna. Instantly restore a large amount of HP to all allies, temporarily raise their resistance a large amount, and grant them last stand. This is absolutely amazing in a magic-based dungeon, because you get that resistance buff. Outside of a magic-based dungeon, it's still really good. You get the instant large heal, and you get last stand. So comparable to Yuna's USB, definitely super functional, and probably better than Yuna's USB. Especially so if you're facing a boss that throws out any type of magic attacks whatsoever. It'll stack great with Wall also to get that super high resistance buff. Ovelia is a great healer, great character, definitely A-team material. Her LMR on this banner allows double casting white, so that'll stack with her burst commands, making her definitely worthy, like I said, of being an A-team healer. And next up here we have Delita's BSB. This will benefit greatly from USB, but you do have the Hero King here. 8 physical Holy Fire, Lightning, and Ice attacks to random targets, and grant Haste Burst Mode to the user. Critical hits deal additional damage. So you'll get all those buffs from USB. It will help with the critical damage mechanic that's seen on all of the commands here and the entry, and maintains that quad element entry effect right there. So you do have the Godfire Blade, 4 physical holy and fire attacks to one target, with the critical hits dealing additional damage. And Ice Bolt Wave, 4 physical ice and lightning attacks to one target, critical hits deal additional damage. Just 2 different Spellblade commands, just depending on what type of enemy you're facing, what their weakness is. So you can kind of go with either or. It's not really a reason to switch between the two other than weaknesses there. So definitely keep that in mind. And again, this BSB will benefit greatly from casting the USB first and then leading into this. Not a super ultra awesome mechanic in my opinion, but you do have, like I said, that quad element does make it quite useful and a relatively good character. Again, I'm not a huge fan of Final Fantasy Tactics, but if you're able to come out with the full combo here, by all means go ahead and use it. It is quite good. And I did forget to mention you do have the synergy bonus effects here. So it will only help out in Final Fantasy Tactics. Because of that, it's not super worth covering. Next up here, we do have a BSB for Ovelia. You have a small boost to holy damage, always in effect. That might come into play using this relic elsewhere just for that. You have the Heart's Lament. 5 white magic holy non-elemental attacks to one target. Restore a moderate amount of HP to all allies. And haste burst mode to the user. And temporarily raise the mind a moderate amount. That'll help out with her healing right there. So it's actually not as greedy as it sounds, because the healing will benefit everybody. Burst abilities, Sister's Supplication. Instantly restore a very large amount of HP to one ally. And Sister's Mercy, restore a blah 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 blah. These are carbon copy Y'shtola BSB commands right here. And as well, like I said, she does get that dual cast LMR, so those are both great. The instant heal is amazing, and The other command is just kind of standard on all white magic BSBs. Next up here, we have a Mustadio BSB. No bonus effects on this one. We have the Sharp Shot Spray. 8 ranged physical attacks to random targets. Temporarily lower their attack and magic a large amount. Grant haste burst mode to the user. This break will stack pretty well with most all the breaks that we've seen on the first banner, except for the command 2 of that one BSB. I forget who it was for, but you have the attack and magic break on that. So other than that second BSB command, this will stack with pretty much everything we've seen, tactics speaking so far. You have the quick trigger, 2 ranged physical attacks to 1 target, remove the delay from the user's machinist abilities for 2 turns, and the Aegis Crush, ranged physical damage to 1 target and temporarily lower its defense a large amount. You'll actually want to lead with this second command right here and then just spam out the first one, because the delay reduction that you get from the first one won't help the support command down here. So definitely lower the defense a large amount first and then start spamming quick trigger. Pretty good. I have a Super Soul Break from Mustadio. If I got this, it would be reason enough to bring him out, because he's a pretty good physical based breakdowns character. Legend Materia for Delita next. Increase the user's attack up to a moderate amount proportional to the number of the Spellblade abilities the user has used. You'll see the most benefit from this if you do have BSB, because both of the commands do ID as Spellblade, and then you'll have to lead into just using your hones on your other regular abilities at that point. Not ultra useful. We've seen stuff like this, like for Paladin Cecil, where he gains defense for every attack he's taken. So it's kind of, the mirror effect of that. You do have a moderate amount instead of small, so you'll get a little bit better buffs than you've seen on some other LMRs. But overall, this effect is just kind of so-so. The legend material you want on the banner is right here for Ovelia. This is the good one right here. You have the small chance for white magic abilities to trigger twice. We'll stack with both our burst commands, giving you 2 instant large heals off the first burst command, or 2 AoE team heals off the second burst command. You can also combine this with Curata for dual casting Curata, which is always ultra useful, especially in Magicite dungeons. So you do have, again, Ovelia is an A-team healer right here. Pretty reasonable stats for this being a hat as well, meaning anyone can wear it and get a pretty good resistance buff right here. So good stats on a good relic with an amazing LMR effect for White Mage, making Ovelia a great character. Shout is next. Not even going to review that one. Pretty much everyone who's played the game knows it. You get the haste and the large attack buff to the whole team. Shout was an amazing relic when it first came out. Everybody wanted it. It was super, super popular. And by this point, you can get that effect elsewhere, or you can roaming warrior it if you don't already have it. Now, if you don't already have it, there's maybe a reason to draw on this banner, but you still have the Keeper's Choice Volume 2, so you don't need to pull on this banner just for that. But it could be, like I said, it could be a bonus prize for you if you don't already have it. You have a gun for Mustadio here, the Mithril Gun. This is one that I mentioned earlier. I already have this one. No good bonus effects. You do have the Synergy Small Instant KO. It's pretty worthless, but it can be okay for trash mobs while you're grinding out these event dungeons here. You have the Super Soul Break Heart Piercer. 5 ranged physical attacks to all targets and penta break them a moderate amount. Since it's a penta break, it'll stack with every break we've seen across both of the banners so far, and it is quite useful. It gives a lot of viability to this Soul Break even now, this day. So you'll combine the Super Soul Break with his BSB for some great breakdowns there. Next up we have the Wizard Robe. It is Ashura Super Soul Break for Rafa. 6 magic, fire, non-elemental attacks to all targets, haste to all allies, and reduce the user's offensive casting time for 2 turns. If you're pulling for Rafa, go for Banner 1. It's kind of just a consolation prize, and if you don't already have Rafa's more powerful relics and you're still using them for whatever reason, then you might cast this. But if you have the USB and BSB, again, you'll probably never see usage of this, because it's invalidated by just better relics. There's no real reason to use this if you have the good stuff. Next up here for Delita, small boost to lightning damage, always in effect. That is pretty good, but the stats on the sword aren't super great. You still might use this for physical lightning damage elsewhere, but that it's kind of on the table. If you have stuff like Abel's Lance, that's a spear, not a sword, that'll help Kane out a lot more than this. And if you have Lightning's USB sword, that'll be the one to go with for all realms lightning damage on a sword. But you still, like I said, you might find good use of that if you don't have those other relics. North Swain's Strike, 4 range physical attacks to all targets and temporarily lower their attack a large amount. Probably no reason to use this if you have PSB and USB. You do have the attack break a large amount, which means that it still might get some functionality, but competing for Soul Brit gauge, again, the more powerful relics beat out this one, 10 out of 10. The best SSB on this banner is going to be this Mithril Gun, in my opinion, because you have that Penta Break, which is still really, really functional. So I believe that's all the banners here. That's both banners covered. Let's do a 100 gem draw real quick and just see what happens. Might get lucky, we might not. I would honestly prefer to get lucky on Final Fantasy VI, because I don't have a lot of these characters leveled here. Some ones I do, some ones I don't. Nothing good on this banner here. We've got a 4-star. Let's pop back over to the first banner and see if it has anything in store for us, and then we'll wrap up this episode here. Again, I apologize for it being a little late, but kind of a busy weekend, and again, just not super hyped for these particular characters and tactics. Again, they're good characters, but my hype will be a lot higher on the TG Sid USB banner. That's an amazing USB right there. Alright, let's pop in the 100 gemmer here. See if we can bang out anything good. I think Gogo's SSB was my last 5-star 100 gem pull. Nope. Another 4-star here. Kind of a dookie sword to go along with Jesus' Crown of Thorns from the first pull. And that's pretty much it for these episodes here. I hope I got it out in a timely fashion and was still able to convey you guys a good amount of information. I'll definitely toss up the Soul Break animations, so hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing those. If you're new to the channel, I'd definitely love to see you more in the future, so be sure to subscribe and hit the little bell for notifications if you feel like getting notified every time I put something new up. In the meantime, if you like the video as well, it'll definitely help me out, spread me out on YouTube a little bit, so I would certainly appreciate that. And hope you guys do have a good day. If you made pulls on these banners, let me know what you got down below in the comments. I love hearing about it. And hopefully you're saving, or you still have good resources saved up for all this incoming amazement we're going to be seeing at the end of the month here. Until next time, this is Nazdarachi. I hope you guys do have a great day, and I'll catch you around the bend. Peace out, you guys. See you later.